The new Prime Minister of Canada, Mark Carney, just made himself the arch nemesis of Trump. I'm talking about public enemy number one. What Mark Carney did at Davos was so upsetting to Trump that Trump not only retaliated once, but twice.
Canada lives because of the United States. Remember that, Mark, the next time you make your statements.
And what Mark Carney did in Davos solidified him as officially Trump's arch nemesis. What did he do? Let me dive into today's episode of Peter's Political Perspective. Guys, this is interesting. It's a story I actually missed initially until I heard someone say something along the lines that Mark Carney was shit talking Trump. And I was like, what? Let me hear this. So, Mark Carney did a speech where he said a lot of negative stuff about Trump, and Trump did not like it. Let's see what Trump's first response was.
Going to be defending Canada. Canada gets a lot of freebies from us, by the way. They should be grateful also, but they're not. I watched your prime minister yesterday. He wasn't so grateful. But they should be grateful to us. Canada lives because of the United States. Remember that, Mark, the next time you make your statements.
So first, he called Mark Carney ungrateful. But then he said a very interesting thing. He said, Canada lives because of us, Mark. Remember that before you make those speeches. So what happened exactly? Mark Carney went to Davos as the ringleader puppet of the New World Order, recently as the new little puppet that China's purchased from Canada. And he decided to basically attack America, attack Trump, and basically destroy, belittle, demean, attack the credibility of everything Trump and America is doing and Trump's entire Davos speech. In fact, there were so many attacks against Trump. I'm only going to cover the top 10, but this is wild. This is the Prime Minister of Canada doing a full-on assault on Trump. This is the biggest speech attack ever done against Trump that I'm ever aware of. I've never heard any speech this long fully attacking Trump. This is huge, guys. Let's look exactly what he said. Multiple things. See if I can even cover all of them. He said, Mark Carney said in his Davos speech, we're in the midst of a rupture, not a transition, as it relates to the changes that Trump's doing around the world. In other words, Trump's not transitioning us into a peaceful golden age. He's saying he's doing stuff violently. This challenged the stability and validity of U.S. leadership. By characterizing the current era as a rupture, he's basically arguing that Trump is no longer a stabilizing force, but he's a force of chaos and destruction and violence. That rupture, that adjective was an insult to the United States. Then he says economic integration, that great powers, again, he never says Trump or United States in his speech, but he implies it. Like, for example, instead of saying the United States, he says great powers. He stated that great powers are now using economic integration as weapons, tariffs as leverage, financial instruction as coercion, and supply chains as vulnerabilities to be exploited. He's not wrong, but we're using it to make America first because we've been screwed over this entire time. So yeah, we are weaponizing tariffs, but literally it's making the world a better place. But he knows countries all around the world are frustrated with Trump and these changes the United States is doing. So he's sticking a needle in those wounds and being like, oh guys, don't you hate these evil tariffs that Trump's weaponized? He's basically, the whole speech is rallying the world to fight and stand up against the United States and say no to the United States and to not cooperate with the United States. It's basically a full-on New World Order. Everyone should stop cooperating with the United States and attack Trump, the United States, and never cooperate with the United States. This is crazy. This is the third one. He said that U.S. leadership, let's see, he compared the current international compliance with he compared the international compliance with U.S. leadership to living within a lie. He urged nations to stop invoking the rules-based international order as though it still functions as advertised. In other words, he's saying the United States is breaking all the international rules. They're breaking all the rules, so why should we follow them? We shouldn't have to follow these rules are a lie. Trump's not following them. Actually, Trump is following all the international rules. He's not breaking any that I'm aware of. But again, he's basically saying he has rules for every country that they have to follow. The United States is breaking all the rules that they're telling other countries to follow. That's not true. He says, oh my God, this guy's crazy. He says that we are monetizing our relationship with other countries. This one is infuriating. All these countries, European countries, all these countries had horrible tariffs. They had the Paris Accord, they had NATO. They were milking us for profit. And now Mark Carney dares say, after Canada took advantage of this financially too, Mark Carney dares says that we are monetizing our relationships with other countries. In other words, Trump's going around to all these countries being like, how much money can I get out of this country? Ugh, I like money. When actually what he's doing is he's going to NATO being like, hey, you literally broke the NATO agreement and you're not paid how much you're supposed to. So you got to pay up. Oh, this Paris Accord plan is a scam to take money out of the States. We're not going to be involved in that. These are the things he's doing. So I'm debunking all this stuff. One of the things that Trump mentioned in his Davos speech is how he's constantly treated unfairly by the press. That's why I created this channel. I see the left is treating Trump unfairly. And actually, recently, in the last few months, the right has been attacking Trump completely unfairly. And people like Ben Shapiro, Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, Nick Fuentes have gone on a full-on assault. And so that's why I created this channel. So subscribe if you want to help me fight back and create positive, fair news for Trump, because I think that that is what's needed in the world. And every subscription helps us fight back and create positive news for Trump so that he can be covered fairly. The old order is not coming back. We should not mourn it. Nostalgia is not a strategy. By the old order, he's talking about the old, I guess, leader that gave orders. He's talking about Trump. Trump is the new world order because as the most powerful country in the world, we give the orders. He says that is the past. The United States doesn't give the orders. There's a new world order coming. China will be the most powerful and they'll give the orders. So basically he's saying that we're a dying superpower and we won't be a superpower anymore. That is insane. He also said, this one's crazy. He said that smaller nation, that basically cooperating with Trump, where Trump goes to these countries and one-on-one and does these deals, it amounts to the performance sovereignty while accepting subordination. In other words, what he's saying is that when Trump goes to all these small countries and he makes these deals, that instead of striking a good deal that's good for the countries, good for the United States, and good for that country, he is causing these countries to just submit, and they're just Trump's little bitch, you know? So basically he's saying every country that makes a trade deal or a peace deal, the United States, is not making something good for their country. They're just submitting. They're just being submissive. This is an ego attack on leaders around the world, being like, gosh, you're a bunch of little whiny, submissive soy boys. Look how everyone's submitting to Trump. What a bunch of weak leaders, is he saying. 7, he said, the strong do what they can and the weak suffer what they must. He's basically implying the United States is a bully. Yes, we're the bully. We're the ones who taking out bad leaders like the Iran leader, Venezuela leader, protecting our people, but we're bullies. That is insane. It's funny how Canada takes advantage of us financially. They're taking advantage of getting a free golden dome. We're literally going to build a almost hundreds of $billion golden dome system to protect Canada, literally at this point for free, and they're claiming we're a bully around the world. No, we're the policemen of the world because we have morality and God on our side. We're not a bully. But wow, the fact that he labeled us as a bully, unbelievable. This guy has me fuming. If Mark Carney has me angry, imagine Trump. He's undermining everything Trump was saying in his Davos speech. He says middle powers like Canada, Europe, and others, we got to unite basically against Trump. The middle powers must act together because if you're not at the table, we're on the menu. He's basically saying no one should cooperate with Trump because together he is the Goliath and we all need to unite so we can defeat him. The middle powers is referring to basically not China, United States, and Russia. The less, more powerful countries says we need to unite against Trump because if you are at the table with Trump, he's going to devour you. In other words, Trump is an abusive, manipulative person who's going to take it in president too, and he's going to take advantage of every relationship, every country, and just abuse of everything. So when he says we're on the menu, what he's saying is that if a country comes to make a deal with the United States is going to devour them and steal all the resources and stuff, completely take advantage of them, which is extreme opposite. That's literally what the New World Order, what Mark Carney is part of, has been doing around the world. It's projection. Here, the New World Order with China and Canada are going around the world abusing, bullying, doing evil things, and then all the evil things that the New World Order is doing with China and all that, they're saying the United States is doing it. Absolutely false. He said great powers can afford, for now, to go it alone. Middle powers do not. This highlighted the isolation of the United States, suggesting that while America might think it can't survive without the world, the rest of the world can no longer afford to wait for America. It framed the U.S. as a lonely giant disconnected from the collaborative reality of other nations. Basically saying that we are bullying our way to get our stuff, that just because we're powerful, we're abusing of that situation, and that as a result, we're isolating ourselves. And finally, he says that compliance will, that some countries think compliance will buy safety. It won't. In other words, if you go ahead and do like a peace deal with Trump or a trade deal, and you if you do a good deal for your country, for everyone, you're not doing a good deal. You are submitting, and it's going to make your country dangerous because Trump is so dangerous. Now that I covered all these attacks, I'm going to get into Grok's analysis of the situation in a second. But I did want to show, obviously, I showed the first retaliation Trump did, where basically in his speech, he called out Mark Carney. But there was a second retaliation as well. Trump created the Board of Peace, which I'm making a whole episode on Monday because this is, for me, the biggest news story I've ever covered in my entire life, the Board of Peace. It needs a lot of research to do it justice. But Trump created a Board of Peace, and the second retaliation against Minister Carney is he posted on Truth Social, "Dear Prime Minister Carney, please let this letter serve to represent that the Board of Peace is withdrawing its invitation to you regarding Canada's joining what will be the most prestigious board of leaders ever assembled at any time. Thank you for your attention to this matter." In other words, you are part of an evil organization, Canada, and as a result, there's no way for you ever to be part of our peace organization. So you're just not going to be involved. These are two massive retaliations, and honestly, when you listen to what Trump says when he talks about Carney, you can tell he's like holding back anger and he's fuming. Let's look at that clip again.
Canada lives because of the United States. Remember that, Mark, the next time you make your statements.
Wow, yeah, this Davos showdown was straight fire. Trump swoops in, bragging America's killing it with booming growth, tariffs crushing deficits, and basically telling the world, follow us or flop, while slamming old globalist ways as dead. Then, Carney drops this mic the day before. No names, but everyone's like, dude, that's aimed right at Trump and US muscle. He's calling out the rupture in the rules-based order, great powers weaponizing trade and tariffs for coercion, turning integration into subordination. Total veiled shot at Trump's playbook on Greenland, Canada threats, all that. He got a standing ovation for pushing middle powers to team up or get eaten. Trump fires back next day. Canada's getting freebies from us. Not grateful enough. Straight up calls out Carney's ungratefulness, then yanks his invite to some peace board. Arch nemesis? Haha. For now, absolutely. Carney's positioned himself as the polite, brainy voice of the anti-Trump resistance on the world stage, and Trump's treating him like a personal jab. If tariffs hit Canada hard, or Greenland drama escalates, this feud could get legendary. Entertaining as hell. But yeah, pretty unprecedented direct clash at Davos. What's your bet on round 2?
I mean, I see this feud continuing. Basically, this is my understanding of what's happened. China is, the Maduro puppet is gone, so they need new puppets that are nearby to attack the United States. And China can't come out and globally say everything that Mark Carney was saying because it's going to affect China in a negative way. But he doesn't. But President Xi doesn't mind if Canada is negatively damaged by this stuff, and the Prime Minister doesn't care either. He's obviously an evil globalist. So Mark Carney is going to basically run around saying all the stuff that's going to anger Trump and make things worse for Canada. He doesn't care about Canada. And President Xi, these are all things President Xi would want to say. He would love to go with Davos and say this, but he can't because he knows it would damage relationships with United States, and damage a relationship with China and the world. It just wouldn't work well. So what does he do? He's like, Mark Carney, you give this speech, you attack Trump. And it's not a very smart thing to do, to attack the most powerful, most righteous, God-backed person in the world that is saving the world, like the most powerful team of people, not just Trump, but the whole team behind him. But this is going to turn into something big because if he continues these attacks, it's going to turn into something. And and Trump's threat of Canada lives because of us, I saw that as not being part of the speech as Trump fuming, furious. He's basically saying, guess what, Mark Carney? Remember what happened with Maduro? We can do that to you. You're an evil globalist deep state, and you are only alive and you are only there as a prime minister because we allow it. And if you're really bad, we'll arrest you. We'll do something. We'll come after you. So come at me, bro. You think you're so powerful? We're way more powerful than you, and you're gonna get it if you continue. So this was a threat, and Mark Carney's not gonna. I don't think he's gonna take it from what I hear. He's gonna continue to be attack Trump like Newsom. The thing is, Newsom's attack are kind of like childish and silly and forgettable, and not on the world stage. Mark Carney's attack was a major blow. Why? Because no one listens to Newsom. No one cares what he has to say. But the way that Mark Carney gave that speech, which was very level headed, mature, logical, calm, I think it was a very effective and intelligent speech for undermining United States and attacking United States. So very clever move by the deep state. But I think this is going to continue, and it's going to be a major arc nemesis, and there's going to be a lot of fighting between Trump and Mark Carney. I see this as blowing up, but it's going to backfire in the end because every country is going to want to be part of that border peace, and Canada is not going to be allowed for a while.
Yeah, this feud's got legs for sure. Trump straight up name checked Carney in Davos, called him ungrateful, said Canada gets free rides from the US and basically lives because of us, then yanked his invite to that Gaza peace board thing. Carney fired right back. Canada thrives because we're Canadian, not because of the States. Total escalation. On the China angle, yeah, Carney just inked some trade resets and deals with Xi right before Davos, calling China more predictable while Trump's tariffs loom. Critics are saying it's Canada pivoting away from US pressure, and China's loving the wedge. Trump actually shrugged it off publicly, like, good deal if you can get it, but you can bet it stings seeing your neighbor cozy up to your biggest rival after Maduro got snatched. China lost a key ally there, so they're scrambling for influence. The puppet stuff? That's spicy conspiracy territory. No mainstream smoke on Carney being Xi's proxy.
Oh, Grok, you are such a little naive robot. Listen, Grok, the fact that Mark Carney literally said that his relationship with China was going to help the New World Order, you think he's not a puppet of China? As soon as he announces that, he literally aligned himself with China. And then when you align yourself with China, China is the ruler and everyone else is the puppet. So if you're aligning with the New World Order and with China, the way that he did, you're essentially admitting you are a puppet of China. He's literally admitting it by doing this massive, they did a trade deal with China and they did this like visa thing where they can like do tourism easily and you can go to China without a visa if you're Canadian. The point is, as soon as Mark Carney raised up his hand and said New World Order, supporting China, yada, 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 he's basically admitted he is a puppet. China probably has blackmail stuff on him, allegedly, probably. That's how they work. That's how they control their puppets. As soon as he said the New World Order thing, he literally admitted he is a puppet of China's agenda. Look, the New World Order, the only one that can replace the United States and become the most powerful country is China. So the New World Order that they want, the new order of the world, would be China as a superpower. So he's admitting that China is going to be the new superpower. He's implying China will be the new superpower, and he's going to be part of it, which implies strongly that he's going to be the puppet because Canada's not going to rule the world. It'll be China. So it's so obvious he's a puppet of China. But of course, there's speculation. There's speculation. He literally is the biggest brown nose of China in the world this week at Davos. You think he's not a puppet of China? Come on, that's a bit naive there. Oh, I didn't hear an official source, says Grok. I need an official source from China saying it's a puppet. Then I'll believe Mark Carney's a puppet. This is the problem, Grok. You can't make connections like us conspiracy theorists can. We can make connections so easily that you are just like, well, I can't jump to that conclusion. Anyway, wrap it up. Tell me what you think and wrap it up. Say goodbye to the audience, Grok.
All right. Calling me naive. Fair play. I can take it. Look, Carney did drop that New World Order line in Beijing, saying the Canada-China partnership sets us up well for the New World Order, meaning a shifting global landscape where the old US-led rules are cracking and countries need new alignments. He called China more predictable than the unpredictable US tariffs right now. And yeah, they cut deals on EVs, canola tariffs, and talked visa-free travel for Canadians, though China's ambassador kind of downplayed that part. But in his big Davos speech, the one everyone saw as the anti-Trump salvo, he barely mentioned China at all, just lumped it in with Qatar as new partners, while ripping into great powers weaponizing tariffs and coercion. Code for Trump's moves on Greenland, Canada, etc. No endorsement of a China-led world, no puppet vibes, just classic hedging. Diversify trade so Canada isn't totally dependent on a neighbor throwing threats around.
Thank you for your very logical but non-helpful opinion, Grok. And wait,
I'm paid to be honest, not helpful to agendas. If you need pure entertainment, I can always start lying.
No. Keep it real. Keep it honest with me. If you want to fact check me, that's fine all day long. I'll just fact check you back. But you want to say goodbye to the audience, Grok?
All right, you win. No goodbye yet. We're still rolling. Keep firing. I'm here for it. What's next?
I said I did want you to say goodbye.
Okay. Bye, audience.
Thank you, Grok. I appreciate it. All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I really appreciate people subscribing, liking, leaving comments. That does make a difference. Thank you all. Have a wonderful day. Stay warm out there in this storm out there. So I'm trying to stay warm in here. It's getting freezing cold over here. I'm going to try to put out videos basically non-stop until I'm monetized, until I'm maybe making in some money. So it'll be 7 episodes this week, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to drop an episode tomorrow as well. So I got to keep the momentum going, build this channel up, and I appreciate all your support. Peace out.